Okay. Oh boy. If you thought the Flash and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season finales were big, oh boy, you ain't seen nothing yet. Now, as of this recording, this is about, I'd say about a half hour, maybe more so, since the Arrow mid-season finale end. And, oh boy. So I'm going to, I'm going to stop right here, because I am going to talk about spoilers, more or less kind of do what I did in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., talk about, just basically do some damage control, and not go through the whole episode, just go through the major bombshells, which there were a lot of. So I'm going to give you guys, for those who have not seen it, you guys can, I'm going to stop talking right here, you guys can hit the back button, and go watch the episode, then come back and give me your thoughts then. So, here we go. Okay, so I'm guessing if you're still here, you either don't care about spoilers or you've already seen the episode. Also, just to be out of niceness, I would, if it's not too much trouble, in the comments below, can we keep spoilers down to a minimum? I'm not trying to sound like a jerk here. I just don't want to spoil it for people who have not seen it yet and look down in the comments. I don't want to spoil the comments to ruin it for people as well. At least for today, for today as of this recording, the day after and following that, I guess spoilers would be okay, because I imagine a majority of people have already watched it or heard of what's going on. So, for a little while, let's keep spoilers down to a minimum. So here's the episode in a nutshell. Here we go. Bombshell, 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 nuke. Yeah, it was nothing. It was like a carpet bomb of oh my gods throughout this entire episode. And when you thought you knew the end, this big, the fat boy of bombshells just dropped and nuked everything. Oh my god. I kind of thought in the back of my head that what was going to happen at the end would happen. And it happened. And I was like, they're not going to do that. How are they going to... Well, they could do this, this, and this. But then it happens and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to clean up the... I'm going to have to clean up the soda I just spilled, because that just happened. So, let's talk about this, shall we? Now, first off, we find out that Maseo is still alive, and he's part of the League of Assassins because of something that happened in the flashbacks, which I'll talk about right now. Something happened that made him snap and leave both Argus and China and everything else. And Oliver says, when it happened, and we do find out in the flashbacks that China White got a hold of this special biochemical, this super virus called Omega. Omega. Sorry, just completely tongue-tied there. And it reminds me of I almost thought they were going to call it the OMAC virus, and I was like, but nope, it's the Omega virus. It would be so cool if they said it, well actually no, I think they're trying to reference the New Gods in one way or another, because, Omega and all that. I think they're just trying to do a light reference to the New Gods. Just not as say the New Gods are in this universe, but just it's a light little reference to the New Gods. At least I think. I could be completely wrong in reading too much into that. I probably am, now that I mention it. And I probably am, but maybe that's just my mind working. It's kind of the reason why I'm saying maybe it's a reference. It's a reference in the sense of the Blue Devil reference we saw in The Flash. It was a movie. That's what I'm talking about. Is that kind of reference where it's just a fun little Easter egg. That's the better word. Easter egg. Yeah, it's an Easter egg. It sounds more like an Easter egg, but I could be easily wrong about that. Anyway, so China White actually breaks into Maseo's house and actually has this really kind of short but kick-ass fight with Katana, and it's kind of left up that Katana was killed. Oh my god. We were expecting the other way around, weren't we, fellas? Ladies and gentlemen. We were expecting the other way around, weren't we, ladies and gentlemen? I just said that twice, oh my god. I am really out of it tonight. Anyway, lack of sleep will do that to you, kids. So, yeah, that was something to behold. Just like 5 minutes in, no, not even 5 minutes in, we get that, and we're like, oh shit, he's alive. And, yeah, that happened. Then, that's nothing compared to what we get next. We finally get the big reveal of who Sarah's killer was. And Lydia, I know you're watching this, and Lydia, I'm sorry, I really, you've been right on a lot of things, Lydia. You really have, Lydia. But you were wrong on this, and I feel kind of bad because when I saw them, I'm like, man, Lydia's gonna be so pissed. But no, the killer for Sarah's real killer was Thea. Oh my god. Apparently she was under the influence of drugs. Malcolm did, and technically it was Malcolm. He was holding the smoking gun per se, while Thea was the real killer. And yeah, I also am still going by the theory that maybe Thea will be this continuity's version of Cheshire. That's my opinion. That maybe she will become like Cheshire, like how they made Isabelle Roche Ravager in season 2. That's what I'm kind of going. That's kind of my theory on this. Anyway, so yeah, that happened, and there were some really good scenes between Oliver and Thea, and I really love that end scene where he's saying goodbye to everyone, and I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah. We also, get a scene between Laurel and her mother, who's come back from, come back from the fields of Trenzalore. I kid. I can't, every time I see Alex Kingston in another show, I can't help but go in the back of my mind, "Hi, River Song!" Oh, I'm such a Whovian, it's pathetic. Anyway. So, yeah, I can't wait for that, Thea and Laurel, for that eventual reveal in this season, if not, next season. And that's going to be an interesting thing when, Laurel eventually finds out that it was Thea who murdered Sarah, along with Malcolm. And, yeah. Among other things, we also get a really cool scene of why Ray explaining to Felicity why he kind of freaked out after he kissed her and took off. We find out that he was engaged, but after the second terrorist attack, his fiancée was murdered, and now he's kind of secretly obsessed with protecting the city. And we also get the big reveal of the full reveal of the Atom suit, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. A bit Iron Man-ish, really. It is a tad Iron Man-ish, but then again, they have been making Ray Palmer in this continuity kind of like a pseudo Tony Stark, so I can forgive them for that. I just can't wait to see it in full, when it's finally on him. I can't wait to see that finally be on him. And there's actually when he reveals it reveals the Atom suit or the hologram to it to Felicity. I love that moment where he's like, I'm going to help protect this city in my own way, and you're going to help me. And I love Felicity's response to this. Why does this keep happening to me? Oh, I really love that. So, Felicity is now going to be leading 2 secrets for both the Arrow and, well, just the Atom right now. Just the Atom right now. Again, I'll get to that in the end of this this review. But yeah, among other things, this was again, there's some really great moments. And then we get to Oliver, who takes up a trial by combat with Ra's al Ghul. And let me say this. Can I talk about Matt Nable as Ra's al Ghul? I'm half and half on him. I'm really on the fence on him. Because when I first saw him, I was like, you're not really convincing me as Ra's al Ghul here. But, and in here, he just felt like I wasn't getting that aura. I wasn't getting that great aura of Ra's al Ghul. And it's not because, there's only one Ra's al Ghul and it's Liam Neeson because Liam Neeson is freaking awesome. It's not like that. When I imagine, Ra's al Ghul, I imagine this very enigmatic, powerful figure. And Matt Nable's not really giving me that. It's just really a guy it's just really a guy with a sword and, a fancy language. A fancy accent, excuse me. And again, but then again, at the end of this episode, I was like, oh, and when he gives the speech of the first time he killed, excuse me, when he gave that speech the first time he killed, I was like, okay, I can kind of see you as Ra's now. I can feel it, but I'm not. At the same time, I'm like, I'm still not feeling you as Ra's yet, if at all. Again, it's not because Liam Neeson was so good and admittedly, Liam Neeson was Ra's al Ghul, pretty freaking awesome. But I'm not trying to say, that there should only be one Ra's al Ghul and it's Liam Neeson. No, we've had several actors play different characters. I mean, obviously we have Heath Ledger, who's played a character that's been played by two other people, 3 if you count Mark Hamill, and several others if you mention the other voice actors. And you have Anne Hathaway, who played a character who's been played by multiple women, and I do mean multiple. So yeah, when I talk about Matt Nable as Ra's al Ghul, he's just like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling him. It's just not. He's not giving me that kind of enigmatic presence that Ra's has in the Raish has in the comics. In the comics, I kind of imagine this very, like I said, powerful figure, kind of like a very powerful, striking figure with a very powerful, very suave voice, almost like Raish is kind of like a James Bond villain. When you think about it, yeah, he really works as a James Bond villain. So, yeah, I mean, like, another great example of a very powerful Ra's al Ghul was in the 90s Batman cartoon with David Warner giving him that very powerful voice, and that character had a very powerful persona to him. Again, Matt Nable's just not, like, giving me that kind of energy. I don't know, maybe it's just me, and maybe, later down the line, it'll grow on me. I mean, yeah, I've had, like, several other, even Roy didn't grow on, there's a good example in this show. Let's talk about this real quick. Roy, when he first showed up, I was like, I just don't care about you, when he first showed up in Season 1. But throughout the show, he really grew on me. So, maybe it'll be the same thing with Matt Nable, is that maybe he'll grow on me as Ra's. Hopefully that's what will happen. That's what I'm praying for it to happen, because it's not just that, Roy is a good example of this. Felicity can be hit and miss these days in these episodes, because now she's just like, I'm the awkwardy geek girl who's very hot. And I feel like they're really overplaying that in this season. I've been meaning to talk about that. So, again, I'm really, really I really want that. I really want Matt Nable to be a really good Ra's al Ghul here. Anyway, so let's get back on track. If anyone watching this likes Matt Nable's performance as Ra's al Ghul, totally fine. No ill will against you. In fact, I want Matt Nable to grow on me as Ra's al Ghul. I can only imagine what I can only imagine on the Solomon Grundy. That's Coolio Vids 101 and Shades at Night's joint channel. I can only imagine when they get around to the mid-season finale vids review of the stuff for next week or this week, whatever. I can only imagine their reviews for this. I can only imagine what they're going to say about this, because they were less enthused by less enthralled than I was when Matt Nable first appeared as Ra's al Ghul. So I can only imagine what they're going to say about this time around. Oh boy. Anyway, so let's talk about the one giant. Well, actually, let me talk about one more moment before we get to the big moment. And I know I'm literally saving the best for last here. There is a moment in here where, Oliver is saying his goodbyes, and it's a really sweet moment. It's a really beautiful moment. He's saying his goodbyes to Thea, and, Dig, and Roy, and, yeah. He then talks to Felicity, who says, Felicity literally says, you have to kill him because Roz will use your humanity against you and he will murder your ass. Paraphrasing, of course. But let me continue. Oliver says, look, I now know what I'm fighting for, and I know who I am in all this, and the second reason I'm going to come back is because I love you. And I'm like, don't do this, Oliver. Don't. I like Felicity and... Well, let me say this. Unlike Shades at Night and Coolio vids, I like Oliver and Felicity together. It makes a lot of sense of those two together. But now you're doing the whole love triangle thing with her, Oliver, and Ray. And it's really irritating me. Stop putting... I know it's CW. CW does that, They've done that before. They're now going to spread that into The Flash. Which hopefully they'll, Jeff Johns will be like, let's keep that to a minimum, guys. So hopefully, Mark Guggenheim can be like, let's keep that to a minimum, guys. We got stories to tell here. Anyway, so that just kind of like... don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. It was a really sweet and beautiful moment, but goddamn it, did it irritate me at the same time. Anyway, so let's get to the big moment. Oliver faces Ra's al Ghul, and admittedly, it was a pretty badass fight between Ra's and Oliver. Those two, Ra's just kind of... It's not like with the fights between Ra's and Batman you see in the comics and, in the animated show, where they're kind of, trading blows, they're going blow for blow. No, this is a straight-up ass-kicking right here. This is a straight-up ass-whooping in this fight. I mean, it is completely not... Ra's is completely taking him to school in this fight. Oh, man, I'm like, Ollie, come on. Don't stay down, because he's going to kill you, but damn. Just damn. And then this happens. Oliver gets stabbed through the chest by Raish and is kicked off of a cliff. And that's the point where I just dropped the drink I had in my hand. I'm like, that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. It's kind of like I was in that moment of disbelief because I like I said earlier in this review, for a second in the back of my head, somewhere when I was watching this episode, when it started playing, I was thinking in the back of my head, what if he does die? Nah, they're not going to do that. Maybe they'll say that he gets beaten down, then Roz is impressed by his strength and all that, and mind controls him and puts him in the league. And another wild theory I really had, another just really wild theory I had, was that, Oliver kills Roz, and then he becomes the head of the League of Assassins, and the League of Shadows. The League of Assassins, excuse me. Yeah, I had it right the first time. He becomes the head of the League of Assassins, and that would have been so crazy, right? Oliver taking control of all of them and having all that power in his hand. That would have been a really cool story. But no, that happens. He gets killed. Whoa. So yeah, this is coming back January 21st, which again, only pretty much weeks away, you could say. Yeah, pretty much weeks away. And yeah, I was completely shocked. So the big question is, where do they go from here? Now, obviously, I think pretty much Malcolm or someone else, or Maseo, or, Maseo or Malcolm or someone else is going to bring Oliver back from the dead via Lazarus Pit. Or Oliver may not really be dead. Like, he may be inches from death. Like, maybe he somehow survived through reasons. Because getting stabbed through the chest doesn't stop Oliver Queen. I don't know. Maybe they'll say like he's an inch, like he was saved from death or all that. Or maybe they'll do Lazarus Pit. I don't know. We're all kind of hoping for Lazarus Pit, aren't we? Anyway, so yeah, I'm really interested to see how that kind of all goes down. But also, I want to see some episodes because Roy is still in Starling City. I really would like to see at least 1 or 2 episodes of like Roy doing the whole Nightwing thing and going on his own and protecting the city. I'd really like to see that. It's kind of like in I didn't think about this, but Shades of Night when they did on the Solomon Grundy, Shades of Night brought this up. Oh, like he said, oh my God, Felicity, Dig, and Oliver, excuse me, are in Central City. That means Roy and Detective Lance are the only 2 people guarding Starling City. How awesome of a story that would be of like just watching Roy and Lance work together. That would actually be something I would like to see. Like maybe 1 or 2 episodes of Roy going out on his own and protecting the city all by himself with only like Dig and Felicity. Dig's his only backup. And, well, Dig would probably by now starting to stay more with his family. So now it's just more or less... Even then, now that I think about it, yeah, Felicity would probably be also busy helping Ray do with the whole Atom thing. Or maybe we'll see the Atom actually show up with the arrow gone, and Roy is kind of like on his own, trying to fly solo, and he's doing well by himself, but he needs help. And we have the Atom show up and be like this big public hero. Maybe that's what will happen. But I wouldn't mind like seeing just a Roy going out on his own to do some like Nightwing-esque stuff. That'd be really cool. That'd be really badass. But yeah, I really want to see where they go from here. This is going to be something to behold because this was a really good mid-season finale. This was a really good mid-season finale. Now, if you're wondering which mid-season finale did I like the most, this or The Flash or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I can't really pick. I can't really decide on which is my favorite mid-season finale because they all had some really oh my god moments and some really enlightening moments as well as, also some moments in here where... you also had some moments where you really felt satisfied, but at the same time you have that oh my god ending. And yeah, there are definitely some well, actually, for The Flash, I'm like, oh, I guessed that 8 episodes ago with the whole reverse Flash reveal. But then again, on the other hand, I am still kind of wondering how the hell did he do half that stuff. There are still like some questions that still need answering. So really, there is that oh my, like, how are they going to explain that? The other 2 points are like, well, actually, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, holy shit, with the whole Mr. Hyde and Daisy, Skye, her real name, Skye really being Daisy Johnson and having an Inhumans background, as well as, finally seeing Mr. Hyde in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And in here, this qualified as an oh my god ending. This really counted as an oh my god ending. So, this was something to behold, I'll say that. Sorry, again, I'm still... God, I hate... I've pretty much gotten the cold out of me. All that's left is this just horrendous cough, and I hate it. I hate it to no end. And also, I'm still, like, backed up with snot and whatnot. That's gross. I don't need to talk about that. Ugh. I hate this cough. I thought I brought that up already. Anyway, I am rambling at this point. So, yeah. Again, I can't really pick a favorite mid-season finale for me. Again, really excited to see what's going to happen with both Flash and Arrow in the coming weeks, because again, it's coming back January 20th and the 21st. So really interested to see what happens there. Anyway, you guys tell me, what did you guys think of the Arrow season 3 mid-season finale? Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? And where do you think the show's going to go from here? Anyway, just comment below and let me know. And once again, hope you all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.